Getting outside and throwing a hatchet, throwing a tomahawk is just one of the most therapeutic, simple, satisfying ways for me to relax and have fun. There's never been a time that I didn't get out and enjoy it. In this video, I want to speak to those who are wanting to start doing the same. And I want to tell you 3 reasons why you should get into throwing hatchets and tomahawks as soon as you can. Stick around. Thank you for joining, my friend, and welcome to another episode of Feel Good Friday here on 411 Outdoors. I'm hoping that this video will inspire people to get into hatchet throwing, but I'm also hoping that it will renew the passion of those maybe who have been doing it for a while. This video has been sponsored by JXO. I've reviewed a ton of their throwing knives and throwing hatchets and tomahawks. Let's take a look at their newest set. Here is their newest model. I love the look and design of it. It's about 10.2 inches in length. It does come with this handle. I like that because a lot of these types of throwing hatchets are very slim. It's just a piece of steel. I think about the Smith & Wesson Hawkeyes, for example. I like those, but they don't come with a handle. I'd like them a lot more if they had that. These have their own individual sheath, which is good if you want to just carry around one at a time. You could even carry something like this, you know, for light duty work on a campsite. You don't have to carry around all 3 of them at one time. But here is their new throwing hatchets. I think they have a cool design. They really have more of a tomahawk look to them with, you know, this spike on the back and just the overall design. They've got a nice weight coming in at 12.8 ounces, made with some pretty decent materials, 420 high carbon steel, so they should be able to take a nice beating. I'll be using these throughout the video. If you want to check them out, I will drop a link in the description. The first reason I would encourage you to get into hatchet throwing is because it's easy, it's a whole lot of fun, and it's affordable. I'm going to lump those into one reason. Easy, fun, and affordable. It's hard to beat that combination. It's something just about anybody who's got the ability to throw can do in no time. Just about everybody that I've introduced this to, I had them out here throwing and making a connection within 30 minutes. To throw a hatchet, you just cut down and let go. It's that simple. You just chop down and let go. Now, the only thing you need to do is make sure you have allowed enough distance for this to do one full turn before it makes its chop into the target. With these, I'm thinking it's going to be about 10 feet. Once you get that distance mastered, double the distance. You can also throw underhanded. It's not much different. You know, if you can throw this way, you can throw this way. Just like with overhand, the way you're cutting down and letting go, here you're cutting up and letting go. To get started, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You know, you can get some like this, or you can get, you know, a standard hatchet with a wooden handle, or a tomahawk. Hatchets and tomahawks are a little bit different in their dynamic, but the skill set that it takes to throw them is pretty much the same. They just differ in their dynamic with length and weight and all of that. But once you've invested in your tools, you just need a target. I'll show you what I use. Every single one of my targets are a little log round that's been cut out just like this and wedged between 2 trees. Now, you can use whatever stand you want to, but I'll take you over to this other target that I use. It's just a big old pine log round wedged between 2 trees. And then I've got another one here wedged between some trees. So this is what I do. On Amazon, there's a company called LJ Log Targets. They sell, you know, really fancy looking log rounds and stands you can put them on. You don't have to have woods like I've got out here. You can just set up a target in the backyard. Nevertheless, it's endless fun. The second reason I would encourage you to get into hatchet throwing is it is one of the ultimate stress relievers. People do all kinds of things to relieve stress. It's a part of life. Some go walking, some go to the gym, some hit the heavy bag. I do all of those things, but I also include this into my repertoire of stress relief because it really is a great, great stress reliever. You know, sometimes life hits hard and our minds get overwhelmed, and sometimes we just need a release in those moments. You know, stress is inevitable, but it's very important that we learn to offload that stress. Stress can affect our health. It can affect our families. It can affect a lot of things if we keep it bottled in. And there's just something about that satisfying crunch of throwing a hatchet that eases that stress just a bit. It's just something about throwing that hatchet when you're going through some things in your mind. One of the reasons why I think this is such a good stress reliever is because sometimes in life we just feel like we can't ever hit the mark. We just feel like we're 2 steps behind. We can't, reach the things that we're going after, and some things that we desire deeply just feel so unattainable. Hatchet throwing is one of those things that it's hard to not feel a little bit positive when you're throwing that thing and constantly making a connection on that target. It's a very satisfying form of marksmanship that allows you to make a constant connection and to feel the satisfaction that comes from it. But it's hard not to mentally benefit from some of that right there. It takes a certain energy to sling that hatchet, and when you make that connection, it's just that feel-good moment, and it really does help. Definitely beats just sitting around and staying in a dark place in your mind. Something about getting outside, letting that sunshine beat down on you, crunching those hatchets into those targets. It just lifts your soul. The third reason I will encourage you to get into this is that it's great camaraderie. It's a great way to spend time with your friends and family. You're outdoors, you got some food on the grill, you're enjoying some time outside. It's getting ready to be springtime. It's just a great way to get out and bond with other people. I've had some of the best times out here with friends and family just throwing blades. It's just a great way to pass the time. There's a lot of safety precautions that goes with throwing with a group of people because it's very easy for someone to stumble on the range, a kid that's not paying attention, somebody who's had too much to drink who's not paying attention, just stumbles onto the range and someone is, in mid-throw. So those things can happen. When you're throwing by yourself, you don't have this issue, but when you're throwing with others, people just don't pay attention sometimes. They'll be walking around and not realizing that there's someone in the background getting ready to hurl a hatchet that direction. So if you can keep people off the range, it's generally a safe and great time together. So to recap, getting into throwing hatchets and tomahawks, it's fun, it's easy to do, and it's affordable. It's not an expensive hobby. It's something that's very attainable and available. A lot of people even have hatchet throwing ranges in their hometown. I did for a while. Ours closed down. I don't know why, but nevertheless, it's one of those things that's not too hard to get out and do. Number 2, it's a great stress reliever. If you find yourself in a dark place, you find your mind being overloaded, pay attention to how you feel when you get out and start slinging those hatchets around and making that connection. Number 3, it's great for camaraderie and hanging out together. So get you some throwers, whether it's these or some other kind of thrower, and get out and get started today. I'd like to end the video by saying if you have any additional questions, just drop those in the comments. But I'd also like to ask those who are watching who currently throw, how long have you been throwing? What are your favorite hatchets or tomahawks to throw? What is your favorite setting? Do you like to do competition throwing? Do you like to go down to the hatchet throwing range, or just right in the backyard with your friends and family? I'd love to hear from you. Take care.